Sagittarius. The Archer's awakening. The truth behind their smile is finally exposed, a divine revelation. Sagittarius, listen closely. You didn't find this message by chance. You were led here by divine orchestration, by the whisper of your own higher self, by the calling of truth that refuses to stay hidden any longer. For days, maybe even months, something inside you has felt unsettled. You've been searching for a reason for that quiet tension in your spirit, that weight in your chest that seemed to arrive out of nowhere. You told yourself you were overthinking, that perhaps you were too sensitive. But deep down, a voice kept whispering, something is not as it seems. The universe brings you here now because the veil is ready to fall. What you are about to understand will change how you see certain people, and more importantly, how you see yourself. Sagittarius, your heart has always been pure, open, generous to a fault. You believe in people. You give second chances even when you shouldn't. You trust easily, not out of weakness, but because your soul carries the vibration of faith, the kind that sees the best in others even when they've shown you their worst. But this message is not about losing faith. It's about learning discernment, that sacred balance between love and wisdom. Somewhere close to you, within your circle, perhaps family, perhaps someone you once called sister or friend, there has been an act of betrayal woven in silence. Not the kind of betrayal that shouts in your face, but the one that hides behind smiles. The kind that uses affection as a mask. For a while you felt it in your gut, that subtle shift in energy when you entered the room, the way conversations fell silent, or how a friend's tone changed when your name was mentioned. You brushed it aside, convincing yourself you were imagining things. But Sagittarius, intuition is not imagination. It is divine truth translated through feeling. The universe is revealing to you that certain people around you have acted not from love but from envy. They have questioned your light, your freedom, your confidence. While you celebrated their victories, they compared themselves to you in secret. While you prayed for their peace, they wished your light would dim just enough for them to feel taller. They couldn't stand the way you rise even when life throws arrows your way. But what they don't understand is that Sagittarius is the archer of destiny. No matter how many arrows are fired against you, yours always finds its mark. This message comes to prepare you, not to destroy your trust, but to rebuild it on truth. You are about to see things as they truly are. People will reveal themselves, not through confessions, but through small cracks in their disguise. A careless word, an unexplained silence, an action that feels slightly off. These are not coincidences, they are confirmations. The divine has begun to remove the masks around you, because your soul has outgrown illusions. Sagittarius, you were never meant to live in half-truths. You are ruled by Jupiter, the planet of truth, justice, and divine wisdom. And when the time comes, nothing can hide from your sight. But let me tell you this with gentleness. What's being uncovered is not meant to make you bitter. It is meant to make you free. Every truth that surfaces is a liberation in disguise. For too long you have carried others' projections, their doubts, their hidden resentments. You took on the guilt that wasn't yours, questioning if you'd done something wrong. You didn't. What's happening is cosmic realignment. The universe is simply removing those who cannot hold your energy anymore. Not because you are better than them, but because your vibration has shifted into a frequency that demands authenticity. You might feel anger when the truth comes out. You might cry, tremble, or feel betrayed to your core. But don't suppress it, feel it, then let it pass. The fire in your soul isn't meant for revenge. It's meant for rebirth. Every flame that rises in your chest is burning away illusion. You are being purified. You are remembering who you were before the world told you to doubt yourself. The Sagittarius spirit is wild, unbreakable, and honest to the bone. It may bend under sorrow, but it never stays broken. This revelation isn't punishment. It's a graduation. The universe is saying, you've learned enough through illusion. Now it's time for truth. You are entering a season where masks will fall all around you. And while it might feel like loss, it's actually divine selection. Those who can't walk in truth can't walk with you. The universe is aligning you with people who love without jealousy, who celebrate your wins as their own, who see your light not as competition but as inspiration. So Sagittarius, as you stand here at the threshold of truth, breathe deeply. Don't resist what you feel. Let your intuition speak louder than denial. This moment is sacred. It's the dawn after a long night of confusion. You are stepping into clarity, and with it comes power. The same light that exposes deceit also heals the wound it leaves behind. The same fire that burns bridges also lights your new path forward. Say these words aloud with conviction as a spiritual decree. I, Sagittarius, choose truth over illusion. I trust my intuition, I honor my light, and I release all that was built on lies. When you speak it, you seal a contract with the universe, one that declares that from this moment on, you will no longer walk in the fog of half-truths. The universe responds to courage, and you, dear Archer, have always had the heart of a warrior wrapped in the soul of a philosopher. The truth that once frightened you will now set you free. The revelation has begun. Stay alert but not afraid. Watch how everything that was hidden begins to reveal itself. Not to harm you but to heal you. And remember, Sagittarius, the universe does not expose what it isn't ready to replace. Whatever leaves your life in the coming days is not a loss. It's divine protection preparing the way for something purer, higher, and destined. Because for you, truth isn't the end of the story. It's the beginning of your rebirth. The discovery of betrayals, Sagittarius. Sagittarius, what you are about to understand is not easy to hear, but your spirit has been preparing for this moment for a long time. You've always been guided by truth, even when it hurt. And that is why the universe entrusts you with this revelation now. You see, betrayal rarely comes from enemies. It comes from those who shared your laughter, your table, your secrets. It comes wrapped in familiarity, carrying the face of someone you once called home. For months, your intuition has been whispering that something is wrong. You've noticed inconsistencies, a tone that felt colder, a conversation that stopped when you entered the room, a story that didn't align with your memory. You brushed it off, because your heart didn't want to believe that someone close could act against you. You told yourself, they would never do that to me. But Sagittarius, the universe never allows lies to hide forever. The energy of deception cannot survive in the presence of a soul that vibrates with truth, and your frequency has become too pure for falseness to stay hidden. There is someone, a sister, a friend, perhaps a relative, who has been quietly weaving threads of manipulation behind your back. It didn't start with malice at first. It started with comparison. A quiet voice inside them asked, "Why do they shine when I struggle? Why do people love them so easily?" And instead of healing that pain, they nurtured it. They began to turn admiration into resentment, and resentment into jealousy. Slowly, they built stories in their mind. Stories where you were the one standing in their way, where your light was somehow their shadow. They started whispering to others, planting doubts, bending truths. They wore a mask of concern while feeding the roots of division. At first, the signs were small, subtle changes in how people treated you, small misunderstandings that felt out of nowhere. Then came the heavier signs. The misquoted words, the broken trust, the inexplicable coldness from someone you'd done nothing but love. Sagittarius, this wasn't your imagination. Your spirit was sensing the energy long before your mind could make sense of it. The sleepless nights, the strange tension in family gatherings, the heaviness in your chest. Those were the alarms of your higher self, calling you to awareness. What hurts the most is not what they did, but who did it. You shared your dreams with them. You prayed for them. You defended them when others judged. You saw their pain and offered your shoulder without asking for anything in return. But they confused your kindness for weakness. They mistook your openness for naivety. They thought they could twist your story and you would never notice. But the thing about Sagittarius is this: your soul is ruled by Jupiter, the planet of divine truth. No matter how far lies travel, truth always catches up. This person didn't act alone. There was someone else. Another member of your circle, someone you would never have suspected, who became their silent accomplice. Not necessarily out of hatred, but out of fear and weakness. They stood by and allowed it to happen. They added fuel through gossip disguised as curiosity, by nodding instead of defending you, by choosing silence when loyalty was needed. Together, they formed an alliance rooted in insecurity. One that the universe is now dismantling before your eyes. The betrayal wasn't loud or dramatic. It was quiet, insidious, like poison diluted in honey. They didn't attack you openly. They smiled while withdrawing their support. They twisted your words in conversations you weren't in. They created a false image of you, one built from half-truths and exaggerations, convincing others that you were selfish, proud, or ungrateful. They used your own generosity against you, your openness as a weapon. And for a while they succeeded not in destroying you but in confusing others about who you are. Sagittarius, it's normal to feel your faith in people shaking right now. You might question everything. How could they? Why didn't I see it sooner? But don't turn this into self-blame. The universe hid this truth until you were strong enough to face it without losing your light. If you had known earlier, you might have reacted from anger instead of wisdom. Now you are wiser. You can see the full picture without drowning in resentment. What was hidden in darkness is coming to light, not to punish you but to release you. You are not the victim of this story. You are the awakening force within it. Your spirit has grown too bright to coexist with deception. And that's why this revelation feels both painful and sacred. You're being shown who truly stands with you, and who only stood beside you when it benefited them. The universe is cleansing your circle. It is burning away every false connection, every masked smile, every relationship that was rooted in envy instead of love. There will be signs confirming everything. A message sent by mistake, a look they can't hold when they see you, an unexpected truth slipping from someone's lips. Don't chase these confirmations. Let them come naturally. Truth doesn't need to be forced. It unfolds when the soul is ready. And Sagittarius, you are ready now. As this revelation unfolds, you might feel torn between anger and compassion. Part of you wants to expose them, to demand explanations. But the other part, the wiser, calmer part, knows that revenge is not your path. Divine justice has already been activated. The universe will balance the scales in its own perfect time. Your role is to observe, to understand, and to release. Don't lower your vibration by engaging in the same energy that hurt you. Remember, those who plot in shadows eventually become lost in them. Instead, focus on healing. Write, pray, walk in nature. Do whatever reconnects you with peace. You are not meant to close your heart, only to refine it. Let this experience sharpen your intuition, not harden your soul. The purpose of this betrayal is not destruction but purification. You are learning to love without illusion, to trust without blindness, and to see beyond words into energy. That is spiritual mastery, Sagittarius. And that's exactly what this chapter is awakening in you. You are stepping into a new dimension of clarity where deceit cannot survive. The truth may sting, but it liberates. Those who conspired against you will soon face the echoes of their actions. You don't need to be their judge. The universe already saw everything. What's unfolding now is divine alignment. The connections that remain after this storm will be the ones that are real. So take a deep breath, Archer. The arrows of betrayal may have pierced you, but they did not destroy you. In fact, they have revealed the armor of your soul. You see now what was hidden, and that is your freedom. Say it quietly to yourself. I release what was built on deception. I trust that truth protects me. I am free. This, Sagittarius, is not the end. It's the unveiling. The sacred moment when illusion shatters and your higher path begins to appear through the smoke. Every tear is holy water cleansing your spirit. Every truth revealed is a torch lighting your way forward. You were born under the sign of truth, and now truth comes to crown you. The revelation of envy. Sagittarius, now that the curtain of deceit has been pulled back, the universe wants you to look deeper. Not just at what was done to you but why it happened. Behind every act of betrayal, there is a wound that hasn't been healed. Behind every whisper against you, there is someone who has forgotten their own light. The one who betrayed you, that person you trusted, wasn't born with malice. They were consumed by comparison. They looked at your freedom, your laughter, your resilience, and something inside them twisted. Not because you did anything wrong, but because your light reflected the parts of themselves they refused to face. Sagittarius, you've always carried an energy that draws people in. You make others feel alive. Your optimism, your courage, your faith in the impossible. They remind people of what they once dreamed of being. But not everyone is ready to stand beside a soul so vast. Some feel small in your presence, not because you diminish them, but because they have forgotten how to expand. And when someone can't handle your light, they will either rise to meet it or attempt to dim it. The one who hurt you chose the latter. She or he watched you grow, travel, build, love, and succeed without asking permission. They saw how easily you turn pain into wisdom, how you never stay down for long. They couldn't comprehend how your spirit remained joyful while theirs carried heaviness. Instead of asking, "How can I heal like that?" they asked, Why them and not me? That single thought became poison. Envy, Sagittarius, is admiration that turns sour. It starts with fascination, then grows into comparison, and finally rots into resentment. And that resentment was what guided their every move. First, they tried to imitate you. They copied your words, your style, even your way of speaking. But imitation could not replicate your essence. Because your light, dear Archer, isn't something learned, it's something born. It comes from lifetimes of wisdom, from walking through storms and still choosing kindness. When they realized they couldn't be you, they decided to distort you. They built a false version of you in others' minds, one where your confidence looked like arrogance, your boundaries looked like coldness, your independence looked like rebellion. And the cruelest part? They disguised it as concern. I'm just worried about Sagittarius, they would say, while planting seeds of doubt in others' hearts. They found an accomplice, someone who shared their insecurities, someone who also felt overshadowed by your natural glow. Together they bonded not through love but through pain. They spoke in circles, validating each other's envy, convincing themselves that their actions were justified. They turned your kindness into ammunition, your success into accusation. They didn't realize that while they were weaving their net of deception, the universe was watching, patient, silent, waiting for the right time to unveil everything. Sagittarius, when you live in truth, you don't need to expose anyone. The universe does it for you. Lies have an expiration date, and that date has arrived. Those who conspired against you are beginning to unravel. The cracks in their facade are showing. Their energy feels heavy. Their smiles no longer reach their eyes. Divine law is simple. What is built in deceit cannot stand in the vibration of truth. And you, Sagittarius, are truth incarnate. Yet the universe does not reveal this to make you gloat. No, it wants you to understand the sacred lesson hidden within this storm. Envy is a mirror. It doesn't show you your flaws. It shows you your light. The brighter you shine, the more it exposes unhealed darkness in others. It's not your job to dim yourself so others can feel comfortable in their shadows. Your purpose is to be the flame that shows what healing looks like. That's why even in betrayal, you must remain yourself. Honest, radiant, and compassionate. Because your power doesn't come from how you are treated. It comes from how you respond. Think back to how you reacted when you first sensed the tension. You didn't lash out. You questioned, you tried to understand, you gave the benefit of the doubt. That grace is your strength. They thought kindness was weakness, but kindness is the highest form of strength because it resists corruption. The fact that you didn't become like them, that you still choose to love and wish them peace, is what unsettles them most. Your peace is their mirror, and they can't stand what it reflects. The universe wants you to know that you've passed the test. This was not just emotional pain, it was spiritual training. You were being taught the difference between empathy and enabling, between forgiveness and foolishness. You've learned now that not everyone who stands beside you is walking with you. Some travel with you only to learn from your light, until it blinds them. But don't close your heart. Keep it open but guarded by wisdom. There's a reason why this revelation comes now. A higher path is opening for you. One that requires emotional clarity. To step into that next level, you had to see who could not go with you. The ones who plotted against you were never your enemies. They were your initiators. Their envy was the fire that burned away your need for approval. Their betrayal was the catalyst that awakened your discernment. They taught you what real loyalty feels like by showing you what it is not. Sagittarius, it's okay to grieve them. It's okay to miss the version of them you once loved. But don't mourn the loss of what was never true. You're not losing family or friends, you're shedding false alignments. When the arrow of truth leaves your bow, it cannot return. It flies forward, piercing illusions until only authenticity remains. That's what's happening now. Your life is being purified of everything that was never aligned with your spirit's expansion. So when you feel the sting of betrayal, remember this. It's not rejection. It's redirection. The universe never takes without replacing. Soon new souls will enter your orbit. Genuine, grounded, spiritually awake. They will recognize your heart immediately because they've been through the same fire. You will no longer have to explain your worth or dim your glow. These new connections will celebrate you the way your old ones tried to silence you. And when you see those who hurt you, don't look away in bitterness. Look with quiet understanding. They are already facing the consequences of their own energy. You don't have to curse them. Their actions were the curse. You, on the other hand, have been anointed by this pain. You carry the sacred mark of someone who survived envy without becoming envious, who faced deceit and still chose truth. Say it softly to yourself now. I forgive, but I do not forget. I release, but I do not return. I walk forward in truth, untouched by envy, guarded by light. Sagittarius, this is the revelation. You were never the problem. You were the trigger for others' unhealed wounds. You didn't lose anything real. You were freed from what was false. The jealousy of others did not diminish you. It revealed your power. And that power, purified through fire, will now guide you into the next stage of your destiny. The archer's aim is clearer than ever. You see who you are, who they were, and where you are going. The arrow of truth has left the bow, and its target is freedom. The divine justice and liberation. Sagittarius, take a deep breath. Feel how the air enters your chest, how it expands your ribs like wings. That's what freedom feels like. The storm you've walked through wasn't meant to destroy you. It was meant to clear the air so you could finally breathe again. Divine justice has already begun its work, silently, perfectly, without your intervention. The universe has seen every hidden conversation, every false smile, every twist of your truth. And while you question why you had to endure so much pain in silence, the divine was already building your liberation behind the scenes. Justice in the spiritual realm doesn't arrive with noise or spectacle. It unfolds quietly with precision. Those who acted from envy now face the emptiness their actions created. They may pretend to be unbothered, but inside, the weight of their choices grows heavier by the day. The energy they sent toward you has nowhere to go but back to them, multiplied. Not as punishment, but as reflection. Because the universe does not seek revenge. It seeks balance. Every seed planted must return to its sower. They sowed deceit, now they reap disquiet. They sowed manipulation, now they live in confusion. And you, Sagittarius, who sowed love, light, and patience, now you will harvest peace. But divine justice is not only about what happens to others. It's also about what awakens within you. This is the sacred moment when you reclaim your power. Not by fighting, not by explaining, but by letting go. The greatest liberation is to no longer need closure from those who wounded you. You don't need their apology to heal. You don't need them to see your worth. The universe already witnessed everything. The truth is known in the higher realms, and that's enough. When you release the need to prove yourself, you transcend their reach entirely. You no longer play on the same field. You rise above it. Sagittarius, you were born under Jupiter, the planet of justice and divine wisdom. That's why your battles are never ordinary. You don't just fight with people. You wrestle with cosmic lessons. Every heartbreak, every betrayal, every disappointment has been part of your spiritual expansion. The divine isn't punishing you. It's sculpting you. Through pain, your spirit gains depth. Through confusion, your intuition strengthens. Through loss, your discernment sharpens. You are not broken. You are being refined. The universe wants you to understand something profound. The people who betrayed you are not villains in your story. They are catalysts. They pushed you toward your destiny by showing you what you could no longer tolerate. Their deceit became the mirror through which you saw your own boundaries, your own sacred worth. Without their betrayal, you might have stayed small to keep the peace. But now, peace can no longer be purchased by self-sacrifice. You are learning that peace built on illusion isn't peace at all. It's a cage. And the universe has come to break that cage open. So yes, the truth hurts. But beneath the hurt, there is liberation. Every tear that falls now carries away an old vibration. An outdated belief that you needed to be liked by everyone to be loved by the right ones. You don't. The divine is pruning your life, cutting away false branches so that you can grow stronger roots. It may feel like loss, but what's really happening is divine realignment. You are being redirected to connections that match your authenticity. New people are coming. People who don't flinch at your light, who don't compete with your energy, who love you without agenda. While that new circle forms, you must give yourself permission to rest. Healing doesn't mean pretending you're fine. Healing means sitting with the pain until it teaches you what it came to teach. Cry if you must. Speak to the stars if no one else listens. You, more than any other sign, have always found solace in the sky. Because the sky mirrors your nature. Wide, boundless, Eternal. Look up tonight, Sagittarius. The same stars that guided your ancestors guide you now. They whisper, you are safe. You are seen. You are protected. And yes, divine protection has been active all along. There were moments when plans against you should have succeeded but mysteriously fell apart. That wasn't luck. That was divine intervention. Your angels rerouted harm away from your path because your mission is far from over. You have work to do, stories to tell, light to share. The betrayal didn't end you. It marked your spiritual graduation. You now carry a wisdom that cannot be learned through comfort, only through contrast. You know what darkness feels like, and that's why your light will never be naive again. From this day forward, you no longer owe your energy to those who misunderstand it. You don't need to defend your truth or prove your innocence. Silence is your new strength. The universe has taken over the courtroom of karma. Let it handle what it knows best. Your job now is to rebuild. Not from bitterness but from clarity. The fire within you isn't for revenge. It's for creation. Let it fuel your purpose, your art, your joy. Turn what was meant to wound you into a force that heals others. That's the Sagittarius way. To turn pain into prophecy, heartbreak into wisdom, endings into beginnings. You might wonder if they'll ever realize what they did. In time they will. Life has a way of echoing lessons back to those who ignore them. But by the time they understand, you will have moved far beyond their reach, not out of spite, but because you've outgrown that frequency. You'll look back with compassion, not attachment. The past will lose its grip because your future will be too luminous to look away from. Remember this truth, Sagittarius. Justice doesn't always mean watching others fall. Sometimes it means watching yourself rise untouched. You don't need to see them suffer to know balance is restored. The simple fact that you still have peace, that you can still love, that your spirit didn't turn bitter, that is divine justice fulfilled. So as this chapter closes, place your hand over your heart and whisper, I release what was never mine. I forgive, I rise, I return to myself. Feel the energy shift as those words leave your lips. That's liberation. That's the sound of chains breaking in unseen realms. The universe is clearing your path, Sagittarius. What's ahead of you is light. Not the blinding kind that hurts, but the healing kind that warms. The kind that reminds you that you never walk alone. This is your moment of divine equilibrium. Where truth stands tall, deceit collapses under its own weight, and your spirit finally breathes in the peace it deserves. The storm has passed. The fire has done its work. What remains is gold. You purified, unshaken, reborn. The rebirth of the archer Sagittarius. The storm is behind you now. The smoke has cleared. And what remains is not the same person who entered the fire. You stand at the edge of a new dawn, stronger, clearer, infinitely wiser. The betrayal that once burned in your heart has become the forge that shaped your spirit into something indestructible. This is not the end of your story. This is the moment your true life begins. Close your eyes and imagine yourself standing on an open plain beneath a vast golden sky. The air feels clean, almost sacred. The weight you carried is gone. What you feel now is lightness, an unfamiliar kind but deeply beautiful. It's the feeling of a soul that has been unchained. You've walked through shadows, faced the falsehoods of others, and still chosen to remain pure. That is not weakness. That is divine strength. You have proven that no darkness, no envy, no deceit can define you. The universe watched how you handled this test. You didn't retaliate. You didn't descend into bitterness. You rose. And because you chose growth over revenge, truth over illusion, and grace over rage, something extraordinary has happened. Your energy has been recalibrated. You now vibrate at a higher frequency, one where lies cannot survive and false love cannot attach. What felt like an ending was actually a sacred initiation. You've been initiated into a higher order of souls, those who know that light doesn't always come from comfort, but from courage. Look back, Sagittarius, not with regret but with reverence. Every tear you shed was holy. Every sleepless night was a conversation between your spirit and God. When you asked, why me? The answer was never punishment, it was preparation. You were being prepared to lead, to teach, to guide others through their own darkness. You were being shown that forgiveness isn't surrender. It's liberation. Because now you understand that holding on to anger binds you to the very energy that hurt you, while releasing it frees you to fly again. The universe has taken note of your endurance. The cosmic scales have tipped in your favor. The same hands that once pushed you down will now have to watch you ascend. Those who spoke ill of you will witness your elevation, not as revenge but as divine demonstration. For the light cannot be buried. It only intensifies when surrounded by shadow. You, Sagittarius, are living proof of that. You have turned your pain into power, your confusion into clarity, your heartbreak into wisdom. And now the path ahead of you is wide open. The energy of rebirth surrounds you. New opportunities will begin to flow effortlessly. The people entering your life in this new chapter will not come to compete or confuse you. They will come to align with you. You'll meet souls who speak your language of truth, who celebrate your victories as if they were their own. These are your soul tribe, your true circle, the ones the universe had to clear space for. But before you step fully into the new, the universe asks you to look inward one last time. There is still a part of you that doubts your worth, that wonders if you could have done something differently. Release that. You did nothing wrong by loving deeply. You did nothing wrong by trusting too much. You were simply yourself. And that self was enough. You never lost your light. You merely gave it to those who didn't know how to receive it. But now that light returns to you, brighter, wiser, refined by truth. Sagittarius, your bow has been rest-wrung by divine hands. Your arrow, the symbol of your spirit, has been cleansed in sacred fire. It no longer aims backward toward the past. It points toward the horizon of destiny. You are the archer reborn. Every time you draw that arrow, remember this. Your aim is no longer survival, it's purpose. You are no longer reacting to pain. You are creating from power. You are no longer seeking justice, you embody it. In the coming months, expect your intuition to heighten. You'll feel guidance more clearly. You'll sense alignment before it happens. You'll notice that what once drained you now falls away effortlessly. That's divine protection in motion. You won't need to fight for what belongs to you. It will come naturally, magnetically. Because the universe always rearranges itself to match a soul that stands in its truth. And you, Sagittarius, are standing taller than ever. Don't be surprised if those who hurt you try to return. Some will seek forgiveness, others will seek access. Listen carefully, not to their words but to their energy. You can forgive without reopening the door. Compassion doesn't require reunion. Boundaries are sacred. You can wish them well from afar while protecting your peace. That's what true maturity looks like. Not coldness but clarity. Now lift your gaze to the horizon. Feel that subtle hum in your chest? That's destiny calling. The universe has seen your integrity and is ready to reward it. Expect divine timing to accelerate. Projects, relationships, and opportunities that were once delayed will suddenly begin to align. Every obstacle that seemed to block you was only redirecting you towards something greater. The detours were not denial. They were divine choreography. Sagittarius, the time of mourning is over. The time of manifestation has begun. What you lost has made room for what is real. The hands that hurt you can no longer reach you. The voices that doubted you can no longer influence your path. You are stepping into a life of authenticity, surrounded by people who mirror your light, not your wounds. This is your ascension. This is your reward. So stand tall, archer. Take your place beneath the stars that have always watched over you. Feel the weight of the past fall from your shoulders like armor you no longer need. Whisper these words into the universe. I am reborn through truth. My light is my protection. My love is my power. My destiny unfolds with grace. And as those words leave your lips, feel the surge of divine energy rising through you. That's not just emotion, that's resurrection. The part of you that once doubted is gone. The part of you that feared betrayal is healed. The part of you that thought you needed others to validate your worth has dissolved. What remains is the essence of who you've always been. A seeker, a truth-teller, a healer wrapped in flame. Remember this always, Sagittarius. What was done against you did not diminish you, it defined you. It revealed what no storm could take. Your divine integrity, your eternal optimism, your unbreakable light. You are the archer, and your arrows now carry prayers instead of pain, purpose instead of fear. Wherever you aim, creation follows. So walk forward unafraid. The universe has restored your crown. The wind of destiny is at your back. The road ahead glows with promise, and every step you take will echo the triumph of a soul that refused to break. This is your rebirth, Sagittarius. The past has been burned to ash. From that ash your wings rise. Aim true, beloved archer. Your light has become your legend.